Welcome to our Explain Everything presentation about terrestrial planet moons and gas giant moons. We will also talk about Neptune and Venus. Let's start off with the moons. The largest difference between the moons of gas giants and terrestrial planets is the amount of moons. If you think back to our Prezi, you remember that gas giants have nearly 48 times more moons than terrestrial planets. The total number of moons for gas giants is 143, with 50 orbiting Jupiter, 53 orbiting Saturn, 27 orbiting Uranus, and 13 orbiting Neptune. The total number of moons for terrestrial planets is 3, with 0 combined for Mercury and Venus, 1 orbiting Earth, and 2 orbiting Mars, and those 2 are very small moons. Overall, gas planet moons may be gas just like the planet it orbits, or it might be solid. The 3 terrestrial planet moons are all solid, just like their respective planets. A good way to remember the number of moons is that the gas giants are bigger, so they have more moons. Therefore, terrestrial planets are smaller, so they have less moons. Now let's talk about Venus and Neptune. Here are our models. These 2 models are the same size and are both solid, and that is incorrect. If we were to try to make Neptune about 47 times bigger than Venus, like it is in real life, it would be very hard to fit it into the room. As I pointed out, both of these models are solid. Johnny, why don't you explain why that is incorrect? Thanks, Johnny. Now, let's talk about Venus. Venus is the second closest planet in our solar system. And it is right here. Venus also has the most circular orbit out of all the planets in our solar system. And as you can see, Venus is a purple-ish colored ring. And you can see it is much circular than the greenish colored ring, which is Earth's. Venus was discovered very early in time because it is so easy to spot in the sky. The atmosphere on Venus is very hot and thick. Most of its atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide and thick clouds of sulfuric acid that completely cover up the whole planet. Venus is one of the hottest places in the solar system, and if you were on the surface of Venus, the air above you would be about 90 times heavier than Earth's air. Venus is much hotter than Earth, mainly because it is much closer to the Sun. An average temperature on Venus is 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, let's talk about the missions to Venus. The first successful mission to Venus was called Mariner 2. And this is what it looks like. And that planet is Venus. It went by Venus on December 14th, 1962. Now, let's talk about Neptune. It is the 8th and final planet in our solar system. And it is right here. I'm pointing with it with my laser. It is a gas giant. Neptune has 13 moons, but the largest and most famous is called Triton. And that is a picture of this. It was discovered 17 days after Neptune was observed. It was discovered by a man named William Lassell. He thought he had seen a ring by that planet a week earlier, interestingly. Triton is Neptune's largest moon. After Lassell discovered Triton, not much was known about it until Voyager 2, the only mission to Neptune, found more information about it around 1989. It revealed that there are ice volcanoes on its surface that shoot up mixtures of gases and dust, but the mixtures freeze instantly and snow back down. And this is what they look like. Because of its surface, Triton is one of the coldest objects in the solar system, with temperatures around negative 400 degrees Fahrenheit. As you just heard, Voyager 2 is the first and only mission to Neptune. It was launched on August 20th, 1977. It was able to track the Great Dark Spot while it still existed. You may be wondering, what is the Great Dark Spot? Here it is. It is the darkish area on Neptune. Well, the Great Dark Spot was a storm that was big enough to contain the entire Earth. It was discovered in 1989 by Voyager 2, but the Hubble Space Telescope took pictures that were able to prove that the Great Dark Spot had disappeared. Even though Neptune is very far away from the Sun, its winds are very powerful. In fact, they are 9 times more powerful than Earth's winds. The biggest storm ever on Neptune was the Great Dark Spot, as you may have guessed. It is very, very cold on Neptune, as you may have thought. In fact, an average temperature on Neptune could be just about negative 353 degrees Fahrenheit. Neptune was the first planet to be discovered without actually being seen. After astronomers realized that Uranus was not orbiting the way it should, Urbain Joseph Leverrier came to the conclusion that a large mass could be throwing off the orbit of Uranus. Leverrier then sent his discoveries to Johann Gottfried Galle, where he found Neptune on his first night of searching for it. Galle originally wanted the planet to be named Leverrier, but that name was rejected and it was named Neptune. One fun fact about Neptune is that its mass is 17 times bigger than Earth's. This is mainly in part to the size of Neptune. I hope you enjoyed our presentation.